Hey, what's up, furniture nerds? Welcome to another episode of Flat Packs Exposed, the review series, brought to you by Prime Spaces.
Hey, what's up, furniture nerds? Doing a quick unboxing for this bookcase that I'm about to put together. And so if you are shopping this particular bookcase, this should give you a much better understanding as to what to expect when you take everything out of the box. What's up, guys? But moving right along, let me just show you some of the parts right here. These are going to make up the shelves. These are going to be the bookcase sides. You have the bookcase backs. So yeah, this is going to be the back of the bookcase. These two pieces are the bottom front and the bottom back of the bookcase. Here is the bag of hardware. Unfortunately, it is not pre-organized, so I'm gonna have to take a few minutes to organize this myself. And this is what the hardware looks like once it's all organized and separated. So not too bad, not too many pieces, pretty good deal. Here are some round stickies. These are basically gonna cover up these holes so that they're not showing. They left the hammer, which I've never seen before, but they do have a screwdriver here as well. Here we have the instruction manual, right? Looks like it's pretty straightforward, not too many steps. Kind of gives you some tips here as to how you can go about doing the assembly so you can put it together safely. They also have instructions on how to install the anti-tip furniture straps. I like how in the instructions they have these blown up illustrations to kind of show how parts are supposed to be oriented and part numbers and how they're supposed to go in. And they also have the part numbers and the number of quantities that they need for each particular step. So far so good. Okay guys, I'm going to give you guys a quick assembly tip for when you are putting together this bookcase, and it's going to save you some time and some backache. So when you're assembling this, it is a really good idea to get yourself a nice elevated work table. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be like a lifetime table just like this. And the reason why is because you're going to be doing a lot of small mundane tasks like putting these cam locks inside these holes here. There's no point of doing it on the ground when you're bent over and hunched over. Your back's going to end up hurting. So think ahead, and this is just good practice for any time you're doing an assembly. A lot of the steps can be done on a table just like this, and so it's a good idea to have one of these handy so that you aren't hurting your back. And lastly, you can see I'm using a drill. This is a high power drill. You don't need one this strong, but if you're going to be using a power tool, make sure that you are using it on its lowest setting. You see I'm using this right now on 1. There's nothing less that I can go than this. You do not have to go any higher than 1 or maybe 2, depending on the drill that you have. So I hope this was helpful, and if you follow these tips, then your bookcase should look like this. Hey, what's up, furniture nerds? Doing a quick review for this 5 to 6 tier bookcase that I just put together. Depending on if you use that top shelf or not, that'll make it 6. And my initial reaction after assembly is that this thing is awesome, right? So let's quickly take a look at some of the features. Although this is a very basic bookcase, it's actually still pretty nice. One thing that I really like is this front design right here, this front edge banding. It's not sharp like other ones, so it just adds a different, more of a softer aesthetic to this overall piece. All of the shelves are actually fixed, right? So that's something to be aware of. None of these are adjustable, so the way that it's built is, this is exactly what you get. Now, in terms of the quality, I'm actually pretty impressed with how sturdy and how kind of heavy the parts are. A lot of bookcases are super hollow and it feels like air, but this one really is actually pretty sturdy. I was really impressed with it. Now, what you may notice is that there's no back, right? So the drawer backs for this bookcase is right here, and the reason why we didn't go with them is because in the reviews they were saying that it's kind of flimsy and it kind of makes it look weird the way that they're oriented, so we just left them off, and we actually think it looks pretty nice because the wall behind it is actually pretty nice too, so it blends in really well. And another thing I like about this is this front toe kick. Sometimes it's pushed back and recessed a little bit, but this one is nice and flush among the front, and so I think it makes it look more part of the ground. But I think the overall design and aesthetic looks better because of that front toe kick. But overall, I really like it. Now, as for the assembly, it took me just about an hour to put together. I did work on an elevated work table, and I also used an electric drill, which definitely helped to expedite the process. So about an hour with a drill. But if you aren't using a drill, it does come with a screwdriver and a hammer. That'll probably take you maybe an hour and a half, maybe a couple hours. The instructions weren't really bad at all, so it's a pretty straightforward assembly. Depending on the tools you use, it can maybe take you a little bit longer longer or shorter. Now, one thing that I would suggest that you do is to get this thing mounted to the wall. So it does come with mounting hardware right here, and actually there's instructions that show you exactly how to do that as well. Here are the instructions for that, and if you're not comfortable with mounting something to the wall, you should definitely just look to get somebody who's capable of doing that. But it is a safety precaution, and I definitely think it's worth doing. But overall, I really like this bookcase. It's pretty sturdy. Parts actually seem pretty quality. The instructions were pretty straightforward. Didn't take me very long to put it together. And overall, that front edge banding, I think, really elevates the aesthetic of this particular bookcase. So I would highly recommend that you go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll see you on the next review.